Okay. So at the moment we're UK based. We've started selling in Europe, so particularly in Germany and France. And our next target is the USA. So that's affecting our thinking at the moment. We'll probably start just with Amazon in the US.
Okay.
Um, but then use our Shopify site to sell from there.
Makes sense. Clearly your traffic's coming from the UK and the
Sorry, say again.
clearly your traffic is coming from the
Yeah,
UK
yeah,
and the rest of Western Europe.
yeah.
And you've had a nice improvement over the
Yeah,
last
we
year.
have.
And when we look at your top pages, it's still mainly the home page, even though you have a
Yeah,
number of these other blogs on raw honey. Not a surprise.
yeah,
But what I would love to see, which we see in the most successful e-com sites, is that these other pages have more kind of juice to them, so it's not mainly dependent upon the homepage.
yeah,
So from an SEO standpoint, I'd like to look at what are these other terms that you're in striking range, as in like you're not in the top three, but you're in the top 10. That if we
yeah,
improve some of these URLs, we can get a little bit more traffic.
yeah. So the top three that you see there, they're just from a blog post that I did, which draws in a lot of traffic, but it hardly gets any sales.
Hmm. Why do you think that is?
Um, they, I mean, it's like it's particularly an issue at this time of year, coughs and colds, sore throats. So yeah, it's something people are searching for, and we've obviously got something right there. But I've put some like products in there that might help people, but we're just not getting the sales there.
Hmm. Are you able to collect emails? Or maybe there's a pricing issue, or maybe we need it
Uh,
takes time to
yeah, maybe. I mean, I think people are they're looking at that page. Yes, honey helps, but I'll go and get the honey from my supermarket. It's
see
kind
it
of a
right away
distraction. Because what we're really interested in is people who are crazy about honey.
in general, not because they have a cold and they need something right now from the local store.
Yeah, not, they're going to buy a jar now and they might not buy another jar for a year. But our best customers are people, they are crazy about honey. They spend a lot of money on honey.
Okay. So what is it about? Because you're ranking really well on raw honey, but what is it about your honey? Because you've got so many different, I don't know anything about honey, but I went in yesterday and I started looking at the different types of honey.
Yeah.
I've heard of Manuka honey. I've been to
Yeah.
so many different countries where there's honey.
Yeah.
I didn't know like what is it? You have like monoflower honey and like
Monofloral. So
yeah.
it's where it's mainly from one plant or tree. Um, yeah, I mean the thing about our honey, so it's unprocessed. It's like it was in the hive, whereas when you get honey in the supermarket, it's probably come from China. It's probably been blended from various
Mhm.
different. It's got all the sort of natural properties. But the thing is that I go out and I find the honey, I go and visit the beekeepers. It's not like I just buy it from a middleman. I go directly to the source and we tell the customers like the story behind the honey. So some of them are therapeutic, some of them are more sort of for foodies, people who are into, top quality food, artisan food.
So definitely the story is part of it. So people who are
Yeah,
honey enthusiasts, there's a high LTV because they like to try new kinds of honey.
they
And
like to try new kinds of honey and they like, well, what I see from the comments is they like the sort of the passion that I put across about the products.
And so they follow and they trust you. And so they're
Yeah,
so then it's not even a price kind of issue because they know that you're not, Tesco or whoever. And they
that's
like,
it. Yeah. And also we test a lot of the honey because there's a lot of mistrust about honey, about it being adulterated, and we lab test it.
mhm. So how does that how could it seems like that could come across a lot more if
It
there's
could.
stories of
The,
you going out there and visiting the beekeepers and they're kind of along for the ride.
yeah, I mean the main way I get it across is through emails. And we do quite a bit of direct mail as well.
Well, it seems like an obvious answer is if it's working well in email, which I imagine is mostly text, but not so much video and images, we could
Yeah,
shift more to social. And then things like
yeah.
YouTube and Facebook would be really great for engaging the audience, especially if there's a Facebook group and instead of just a Facebook page.
We do have a Facebook group, but it's in very early stages.
Yeah.
We haven't really got any content there.
So it's
But
not even that people are looking, I mean, you rank on raw honey, but it's those other things that are not related to, okay, there's five other guys that sell raw honey. I'm just going to buy this one versus that one. Or I have a cold and I need some honey. It's that they're connoisseurs that follow you and the story. But from a digital standpoint, if you're relying upon mostly email, that you're not engaging there with other people. Like if I looked at your, let's see, we're looking at your top sellers right now, right? Wild lavender honey. I don't know anything about lavender honey. But when I look at this, it looks more like a shopping cart, like a
yeah,
e-commerce store than if I were to, in an ideal world, if I walked into a little boutique shop and you were there and we had this
yeah,
conversation. That's kind of more what we're trying to go for, right?
that's right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we do sell a lot, you know, this does work, but yeah, I'm sure we could draw in a lot more people.
So you don't even, Tim, have an SEO problem. It's even more core than that.
Hmm.
It's more of a strategy storytelling issue. Because if I'm here looking at Antonio's raw organic wild, I mean the ideal situation, there's like different levels of how you could play this. So,
Yeah,
the most ideal thing would be, hey, I'm here with Antonio and we're in, this place in the San Martin Mountains
yeah,
telling me about this lavender honey and how this monoculture. I'm making something. I don't know anything about honey, but I'm just pretending, okay?
yeah,
But
yeah,
in an ideal world, I'm with Antonio and he and I are sitting down and I'm following him around and he's talking about how he's doing it and now he's bringing it out of the honeycomb and it says now we're tasting it straight out of the honeycomb and tell me
yeah.
about this and how'd you get started as a beekeeper and how did tell me more about there's a whole like story behind it. That's the ideal thing. But then
Absolutely.
but
We've
then one
got,
level behind that is maybe you just had some more pictures or some other like there's so many ways to get closer and closer. And then the
yeah,
like the very worst, coldest signal would be here's a picture of a jar of honey,
yeah,
right? You see like there's a spectrum there. So the more we can be over here with Tim as my trusted guide who's out there on my behalf exploring the best honeys in the world,
yeah,
which I'm sure you do that via email but that's probably, I'm
yeah.
guessing, mostly text, like copywriting basically, right?
Mostly text. Yeah. The issue is we've never really managed to get social media to work very well. I'm
Huh.
not exactly sure why. Maybe we just don't go into enough depth.
If email
Um,
works, then social media works. It's the same thing because it's people, right? It's just another channel.
yeah,
And if
yeah,
people are willing to, okay, so let's go back a steps. Then what about email is working? Is it because I mean, it's not seasonal. It's not because they have a cold. Is it
yeah.
because of the coupon or there's some regular sort of cadence to the email or what is it about the email then?
It's the story that I tell. It's the detail and the context. It's how I make every honey seem special. I give a lot of context.
So it's not even
Quite a
like
lot of them,
this
they're sort of
particular
rare or
honey. It's the store. It's all these other pieces. And so
yeah,
there's people I follow that are like you, not in the world of honey, but in other products.
yeah,
But not that these people are influencers, but I trust them so much that
yeah,
there's this guy Brian who spends $2 million a year on his health, and he's
yeah. All right, yeah,
you've heard of this guy, but I
yeah.
follow
I've heard
him,
of him.
and
Yeah,
he recommends this particular olive oil, and he recommends this particular supplement, and so I trust the guy, so I'm okay.
yeah,
Try that thing too. So I imagine there's the same kind of trust too.
yeah. It is. Yeah, yeah.
What's the LTV of your average honey connoisseur?
Well, according to um Shopify, it's about £165. I don't know what that is in dollars, like getting on for
So slightly more than that.
dollars.
So the average, and when they buy, they buy one jar at a time.
No,
Okay,
no. I mean, maybe the first order they do, but the average order of it at the moment is about 57
that makes sense.
pounds.
So like two basically.
Two or three.
Okay.
And some of them spend a lot more.
And imagine a lot of them is for them, but at a certain point, when you have customers for 6 months to a year plus, then they start buying for their friends because they love telling everyone
Yeah,
about it. Instead of
yeah,
the marmalade or jam or whatever they get from the supermarket, they use this
yeah,
part of their
yeah,
ritual.
yeah.
Have you partnered with other gourmet food connoisseurs?
We've tried, um, but we haven't had much success.
But people who love honey, are they just eating it as it is? Are they eating it as part of their, with toast? How are they, with tea? They use it in their tea every morning, or what's their thing?
A lot of them use it for everything, so it's a complete replacement for sugar.
Oh, why don't we hear more stories of these people and how and their lives? And can you
Yeah,
not interview them on Zoom for 10 minutes about how they
yeah,
eat honey and their
yeah,
lifestyle?
yeah,
Oh, it's healthier because they're not like whatever their reasons are. And then we can
yeah,
use that to get more of them. It's basically like interviewing these people is like the most amazing lookalike audience, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I mean, for a long time, we've tried to get like video testimonials. British people are really shy about doing that, but maybe like doing an interview could
Yeah, but
be
testimonials, no one wants to do a testimonial.
no, no,
You reframe it into you're interviewing them about their lifestyle, about what they think and about them. It's not about the honey, even though
yeah,
they're going to say
that
things.
comes into it. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been reading a lot about EVOO. I had no idea there was this one called Atsis that is $131 for a little like 100 milliliter,
wow, you're
whatever,
right.
because it's got the highest phenol, uh,
Polyphenols, yeah,
polyphenol like
yeah,
2,300 per
yeah,
kilogram. I'd like, and so I start to go deep into olive oil because I used to think like olive oil is just olive oil, right? And like honey's
yeah,
just honey, right? Oh, there's organic honey, or there's raw honey, or there's
yeah,
honey with the comb. And now all of a sudden, I'm deep in honey, right?
right, yeah,
Yeah. So I feel like, especially with the internet, there's people like me that we latch onto one little story from a friend or someone
yeah,
we trust, and then pretty soon we're deep exploring all these little details about where it came from, and then and the more we consume, I'm just saying this hypothetically. You tell me if this is
yeah,
true.
yeah,
But as I explore deeper, the deeper I go, the higher the premium I'm willing to pay for that product.
sure,
So now 31 pounds for a jar of honey sounds completely reasonable because now I spent the last half hour looking at, you know,
yeah,
all this detail about this.
yeah,
And now, you tell me about this beekeeper and there's an issue with, bees that are being exterminated or pesticides or African wild honeybees. I don't know, like whatever. But
yeah,
I feel like there's so much more you could say. And yes, you tell a little bit of a story here, but I feel like the thing to unlock your sales, Tim, is the storytelling. And maybe it could be a reluctance or a self-imposed, self-limiting belief about video, or maybe your approach has been slightly different because you said you've tried
Yeah.
partnerships, you've tried telling the story thing, but I don't see that. Like I look at the YouTube, I don't see much there.
No,
Maybe or maybe
no,
you
it's
got
not
rid of
there.
it, but it's not there.
Not there. No.
And you have like nobody here, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you're telling me you tried it. I'm not here to doubt you, but I think that all you need from everything that you've told me is simply a channel shift. And when that happens, you're going to be able to reach your audience in different ways. And then I think the
Yeah.
demographic will shift too by including social. My guess is based on this, your demo is like 45 plus.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a mixture. Also, a lot of our customers are Muslims because there's a
Oh,
whole
okay.
chapter in the Quran about honey and how important it is.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, a lot of them are Muslims.
Not that you would pander to that, but have you said anything about Ramadan, or are you featuring
Y-
this? Or, I mean, they Muslims know the Quran pretty well, so they would know about what
Yeah.
you think about honey. Are you
So
afraid like that would offend people if you mentioned you have a lot of Muslims, or offend the non-Muslims?
I d possibly, but it's not significant.
Hmm. When you say a lot, like what does that mean?
Well, I couldn't actually give you the numbers, but when I look at a list of our customers and the names, I'd say at least a third are Muslims.
Which then resonates well in the UK
Yeah.
or other
But also
places.
in parts of Europe as well.
Yeah. Huh. Have you run dollar day ads before?
I don't think I have.
You know, it'd be cool is that I mean, there's a way to do it legally or without getting in trouble. But if we had stories, I mean, ideally we had stories from other Muslims on video, so you don't even have to say that they're Muslim, like you could just basically tell. And then we
Yeah.
targeted, I mean, you can't target by ethnicity because that is basically illegal, but we target
Yeah.
people like the Quran, and we target people who are clearly figures in Islamic history, like then
Yeah.
kind of implies that they're Muslim, right? Mr.
Yeah.
Yacht, I'm sure he's like, he would know who these people are.
Yeah.
And maybe that would work. Maybe that, or maybe
Yeah. Yeah.
celebrating Ramadan, or but if they're
Yeah.
Muslim, is there, and part of the Quran, but I imagine they go down that same path of a connoisseur as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that sounds really easy because I don't see evidence
Yeah.
of that here.
Yeah.
Seems like you have like three or four very simple things to do that worked well for you, as just like as the core of having a connection with the right customer, like the ICP, and here's what your people love.
Yeah.
Even in spite of that, in spite of not doing the social, your SEO has improved just because of people. I think it's just because your product and service and all this are so good, in spite of not doing these SEO kinds of things, you rank so well on Raw Honey because people talk about you and Google
I
picks up on
think
the signal with nothing to do with
I
SEO
think we
because you're doing it.
yeah, I think we reached a critical mass.
Yeah.
Because yeah, in the last sort of 9 months or so, we've just been up about 30% on sales.
So I don't think it's an SEO issue or a social media issue.
No,
You're so good, Tim. You have a product that's so good and people love you so much that just that alone is what's causing this, is my guess.
yeah,
Not because of any like digital marketing, technical SEO thing that you're doing. And just from looking at this raw honey, raw honey, raw honey, like, yeah.
yeah.
But what if we got you a little bit higher in raw honey? Because raw honey is your money term. Not even
Yeah,
like
raw
different kinds
honey,
of raw honey, right?
also organic honey, and then the names of different honey varieties.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're ranking so well on raw honey, why aren't we ranking on like, Manuka honey or in the comb honey or
Well, we don't sell that much Manuka, but Manuka is extremely competitive.
because it's a more broad consumer term?
Well, it's well known, and there's a lot of brands after that
Okay.
term.
Okay.
We do sell a bit, but we're not so bothered about it.
Okay. Yeah, because people say Manuka. That's like the most common word relate. If they say honey, they're gonna say
Yeah,
Manuka or
yeah,
pure.
yeah.
So why don't we try to extend raw honey into the related terms of raw honey? Can we spell connoisseur, however it is?
Yeah, they'll get it.
Who cares? He's a connoisseur, and because it appeals to Muslims, what are related terms we can go after on SEO, such as types of raw honey? Hmm. What do you think of this?
Yeah, that's making sense.
Bee from. How often do they care about the bees? Probably a lot because it's part of the story, right?
That's part of the story, particularly with organic honey. There's like you have to be ethical, basically. I mean, it can be about instant need, but
To draw them in
I,
initially.
yeah, it's. I mean, at this time of year, sort of winter months when flus are prevalent, then sales of the most antibacterial honeys go up a lot.
But there's some seasonality,
Yeah.
but not a lot. Like there's other ecom where it's obviously a fourth quarter kind of thing, and then you know,
I mean, the season really is from October to April. That's where sales are peak. They do drop in the summer.
yeah, makes sense. Have you done things like recipes? And
Yeah, we have done recipes. They used to do really well on Facebook, but now nothing happens with them.
why do you think that is?
I I just don't know. It's just one of those sort of trends, and then
But they care about their health.
they
Otherwise,
care
they
about
buy
the
just
health.
random sugar, fake honey stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we've got about 84,000 followers on Facebook, but we don't get much interaction. If you do raw honey shop,
Raw honey shop. Okay.
UK maybe. This is US, isn't it?
It is US, isn't it?
I can give you the link if you want.
Oh, it should be in the footer of your
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
the raw honey shop. Have you tried boosting posts? I would boost some of these posts
I
for,
do boost some of them, yeah.
and what have you noticed?
I would get the occasional sale.
What do you have these ones that are not that are just one was like a deeper story. It's not even directly selling, but it's a deeper story. So it's like paying for the because you're saying direct mail works.
Yeah,
So if we're really educating them, I bet you if
yeah,
you boosted those posts
yeah,
against your fans and against your custom audiences, that would be a no-brainer.
yeah,
Ran dollar a day. And then the
yeah,
ones that work just allow them to continue the run, which is the whole point of
yeah,
this is obviously one where you're selling. So I wouldn't, I mean, you could boost it, but I think the ones that are like this is obviously testimonial and whatnot, but the ones where it's clearly a story, yeah, here's an interesting facts, stuff that people can really get into, right?
yeah,
About the ancient Egyptians. I'd find this fascinating. Yeah,
yeah,
I would boost that one. But ones like
yeah.
this, maybe we could just do that, test over the next couple of weeks. Maybe you have some of these that we could repurpose from YouTube back to here, or it looks like you have some overlap, which is good.
Right.
GIFs. I mean, certainly when, in August, September, October, you start talking about
Yeah,
gifting
yeah,
because that starts to pick up your high season, right? When people start to,
yeah,
the colder
yeah,
it is, the more people want the honey in their teas or honey and whatever, right?
yeah. And the gift season.
Because I imagine if I interviewed you on my podcast for half an hour about honey, you could just talk nonstop about all honey this and honey that.
Yeah,
So why don't you have a honey podcast? That's easy, right?
yeah,
And that would give you your source of everything. Storytelling, because you could solo talk about this. Hey, I was just with this, I was just in, this one weird part of the world looking at this honey, and here's what I learned. And or, I'm interviewing this guy who's a Muslim and Ramadan and blah blah blah. And just literally it's
yeah,
just Zoom calls like this. This is a Zoom call, just called it a
yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
The honey pot. It's like Pooh Bear buzzing
Yeah.
and sweet talks. Do you like any of these? How do these resonate?
Not so much, no. It's like like the sort of puns and stuff. It's
Too
just it's
funny.
not so serious.
Okay.
It's a bit more serious what I
I'm still trying to be clever. Nectar
yeah,
narrative.
yeah.
What angle would you want though? When people listen to your podcast, they think that this is an expert. He's curating the best honeys. He's, a trusted guide. What is the
I'd like to take them on some of the journeys with me.
okay? Where's your story, the kind of founder story about how you got into honey and all that? I feel like that's the elephant in the room on this too, right?
Absolutely. Again, like we do it direct mail. Um, and it is on the website in one or two places. Um, but yeah, that's a bit different as well.
Kind of like Honey Collector.
Yeah, possibly.
I feel like we just need a name, and then you can just say, "Hey, everybody, I've got a podcast. I'm interviewing it." You know,
Yeah,
all but
we're not there yet, but I'm sure I can find a name.
yeah. But I think this is the thing that you need, and then that content you would run through the four stages of the content factory that we talk about. So I think if you
Yeah,
have this, then it's not that hard to process it. So it then can be email and Facebook and YouTube and all these other sorts of things.
yeah,
I think what's missing is raw ingredients in stage one to then
Yeah.
run through these different stages. And then you could still dollar a day some of the stuff you have right now on Facebook because it looks like Facebook is your top social channel by far from email.
Yeah.
It makes sense to go from email to Facebook because that's
Yeah.
going to be the closest demographic shift.
What about
With
Instagram?
facts information. I don't think Instagram or whatever is going to work for you. I mean, maybe, but I think it's the deeper stories is what people are resonating with,
Hmm.
even though Instagram's owned by Facebook and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. A grumble. See, I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they
And
actually
I
make
think there
it
should
really.
be if you're okay with it, I know you're kind of the behind the scenes, like people who rely mainly on email, they kind of like hide their face, you know, it's like
Yeah.
community, like the 50-year-old white male hides his face. But I
Yeah.
think you could show your face here and there. I know you're not trying to be
Yeah.
an influencer, but for people to trust you and know you, they kind of have to see like who you are and your
Yeah.
story and that thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like that too. Like I don't want to show my face. I'd rather just like show what these other people are doing and do copywriting, whatever. But I think there comes a time when you need to emerge
But
from behind the curtain.
yeah, true enough. You
Yeah.
picked up on that.
Yeah. I first came to your site and I saw this and I was looking at your content, I'm thinking, all right, I know Tim is behind this. But where is
Where is,
he? You
where
know,
is he? Yeah.
come on now. Beekeepers. Okay, where is he? Featuring all these other people. That's great. But these other people, it'd be so nice if it seems like that because what I'm trying to do is amplify the signal that's working. I'm not trying to come up with new ideas, right?
No.
But I would love to know about Ramon. What is about Ramon? So here he is holding up this jar of honey, but I'm sure there's so
Yeah.
much more he can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of want to know about him. And I'm sure the more we can know about each of these people, the more you're going to draw me in with these stories and then I'm going to want to buy.
Yeah.
What percent is consumer direct versus wholesale?
Wholesale is pretty small. It's about 20%.
Okay. And what would you say is the percentage of gifting?
Gifting, maybe 5%.
It's not like you would have like for what you're doing, it's not like you'd have sales or anything like that, but have you found certain things to work during the holidays?
During the holidays, we do a promotion where they get, if they spend a certain amount, they get one size small jar, and then if they spend more, they get another one.
Do you have like a
That
honey
seems to
sampler?
work pretty well. We don't do discounts.
Okay. But I have some friends that like my friend Jonathan is one of the largest, if you will, artisanal chocolate.
Okay.
And he does different kinds, and not that it's a sale or promotion, but people are always clamoring at the latest. What is the thing that he has? It is what are those things that the pigs dig up out of the ground that's really expensive that people use in the
Truffles?
truffles? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So he has these truffle like every month, and people buy it till it runs out, and they're always, because it's so whatever the word is for that.
yeah. I mean, what we do actually is, so we'll introduce um a new honey that I've discovered. So um one of the most recent ones was a red fir honey. Um and we got that lab tested, and it proved to be extremely antibacterial, more antibacterial than Manuka.
Hmm.
Uh, so we do like 5 or 6 like new specialist honeys a year, and that really boosts sales.
Because people know that it's limited and special, and
Yeah,
again, it's been tested, and
yeah,
that resonates with the people who really care about the details.
yeah.
So where's that? Why is that information not screaming at me?
Well, it's like it's in the message bar across the top.
Oh, okay.
So that's like the latest one.
This feels like a shopping cart to me still.
Yeah,
I feel like it should be like more shopkeeper, personal magazine story, National Geographic, and less Shopify.
yeah, yeah. It should be more like a blog post with videos and
Yeah, because this looks like freaking shopping cart stuff. This looks like,
yeah,
like I just like, okay, whatever.
yeah,
You didn't sell me on the story here. I mean, I see Mount Olympus, so I think, oh wow, Greek gods and all this, but
yeah,
not really. Like, okay, there's a picture of the jar, but you need to tell me the story.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they get the story in the email, but people who don't receive the email don't get the story.
Yeah. So I think in social, I mean, you could just copy the out of the email, but I think if you told a video story, it doesn't have to be this highly produced thing. It doesn't have
Yeah,
to be like this Kickstarter thing, you get people to cry kind of thing. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, sometimes if I've got a new honey coming, then I will email people and ask if they want to get on the priority list for it. That always works well.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's cool that you can see kind of the honey, but
Yeah,
this looks very kind of antiseptic, the white background.
sure.
Doesn't look
Yeah,
like
yeah,
story. I mean, it looks,
yeah,
this is closer, but then this is just like some guy. There's like I can tell like there's almost a story here, but there's not really a story. Okay, he's holding the whatever that dipper thing is.
yeah,
Where's my story? This is like, Tim, this is screaming for a story.
yeah,
Where is it? I clicked on the thing. I'm ready to learn all
yeah,
about honey from Mount Olympus. I imagine like Zeus is eating this honey.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
To be a Greek god, I want to, throw lightning bolts at people.
yeah.
So I think you know what you need to do, and I think it's not
I
hard. And
think so.
I'd love to see some of these tweaks and happy to help you. Like we could even boost a couple posts right now just to show you how easy that is on Facebook, for example.
Yeah,
But I
we
think the
could do that.
podcast is a way to collect that video and the stories here in phase one. If you can
Yeah,
just, it's ironic. Like if I throw your analogy back to you, like out there gathering and learning and there's different kinds of honey. Like I'd be the connoisseur of different stories
yeah,
here. Then
yeah,
it's so easy to repurpose it into channels more
yeah,
than email. So if you can
yeah,
just collect story in video format, which is easy because you talk to people, just turn the Zoom on or turn yourself. It doesn't mean you're Gary Vaynerchuk and you're trying to like show your
yeah,
food.
yeah.
I'm not saying that, but most people
No,
mistake social media for that. They think that just because you're collecting video, you need to act like an influencer. I'm not saying that either.
no,
Okay? You can be exactly as you are,
yeah.
plain
Just give,
spoken, trustworthy.
yeah,
You don't have to be ridiculous like, these teenagers. You know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think you did that. That would significantly revamp your digital. And,
yeah.
and my sense is that you have a loyal base, but and they love you so much that you rank on this. Oops, I'm looking at the
Oh
wrong.
yeah, yeah,
You rank on it, but in spite of not doing these other things.
yeah.
So I think you have a Ferrari with the flat tire kind of issue. And then moving to the US, there's way more volume in the US.
Europe's a bit difficult because of the languages, basically.
Yeah. And then I think that partnerships with the guys that do EVOO and you being interviewed by these other people and then kind of JV with the different lists,
Yeah,
you give them whatever, 10% or something, whatever, I'm not,
yeah,
you're not charging like these ultra premium prices like other guys will do for wine or olive oil or whatnot.
yeah. Some of them are quite expensive, but yeah.
Gift baskets, I haven't seen that, that's where you can really mark the thing up, right?
Mm,
Samplers, these little like 1 ounce sampler things, like, 10 of them for like $50, that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. We have gone down that route. It
It
didn't
didn't
really
work.
work. No.
Why not?
Um,
I mean, I would think, geez, this guy's got so many different kinds. If there's this one
yeah,
that had like 10 of them, I would buy that one, you know?
yeah, you would think that, but they just didn't move.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people asked for them, but when we stocked them, they just didn't really move, and we were left with thousands of them.
Okay. Huh. Have you talked to these customers to see what are their, I'd love to hear like what are your customers saying?
Oh yeah, yeah, we talked to them a lot. Um,
Well, great. Get some of them on Zoom and then say, hey,
yeah,
I'd love to share some of your stories. Is
yeah,
that okay? No,
yeah,
they almost always say yes.
yeah,
Like this Zoom is being recorded. By default, you can just, the thing where the Zoom is being
yeah,
recorded and you ask their permission.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it'd be really nice. I would love to if you could just, you know, interview some of these people, do some of these things that we talked about, boost some posts. I'm happy to help you with that. And I would love
okay,
to show, I know it's only a month and things like SEO take more than a month, but I would
yeah,
love to show some early results just from doing things in the next week or so. Because
okay,
I think you have all the, no pun intended. I think you have the right ingredients. You really do.
definitely. It's just like, being English, you're shy about getting out there, basically.
Yeah, but the English people, you could be talking about McDonald's and it sounds more intelligent just because of the English accent.
Yeah, yeah, it's crap, but yeah,
No, but I think it's
yeah,
amazing because you no offense, but you do not come across as the slick American infomercial seller.
yeah,
You're like the exact opposite. You're the trustworthy
yeah,
guy. This is what you do. You're not trying to 20% off if you buy right now. You
yeah.
just don't have the personality type to act that way.
No, no,
And so
no.
I love seeing people like you who are true connoisseurs win over the sales bros, if you know what I mean.
Mm,
You're not driving the Lamborghini saying, "Would you like to have the best honey in the world? Let me tell you the secret about honey." Right? You're not
yeah,
doing
yeah,
you're very matter of fact.
yeah,
And you're the kind
yeah,
of I could ask you a question and you're going to give me the straight answer.
yeah,
People really appreciate that. I think you should be exactly as you are.
yeah. I mean, I customers, they like me. They do like me.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah,
we need to get
appreciate
more of
that.
Tim, just like you are.
Yeah,
And
they
I would love to
appreciate the
see some
honesty
boosted
and the
posts.
detail.
I'd love to see your face talking
Yeah,
about honey, telling your story. I'm sure you've told it before.
yeah,
Love to see you interview a few of these customers. I know I'm like putting more stuff on your plate, but
yeah.
I don't think it's a lot. And
No, no.
I think it would make a big difference.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think the biggest thing, just from having talked to a lot of people like you, is that especially the British, is that there's kind of this reluctance to want to show your face. And Americans have no problem doing this, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
this kind of like what's the word? This sort of like, polite. I don't want to be bragging about my stuff, kind of.
Mm,
So
yeah,
I think if you just came out of your shell a little bit on that,
yeah.
it would make a big difference in your business.
I know you're right.
But you've needed someone you've known this, but you've needed someone to tell you this, or like
Yeah,
force you into the light, basically.
yeah. I know you're right. I know that's going to make the big difference. I mean, we're doing, I'm pretty happy with the way we're doing, but we could do a lot better. We could
Yeah,
do a lot more.
yeah,
Particularly, I imagine in America.
yeah, and yeah. America. Once you're in the American market, I mean, you already have. If it's working in the UK and you're dominating on raw honey, it's not that big of a shift.
Mm, yeah.
So what can I do to help? Or how has this been so far?
Yeah, no, it's been great. You've like cut to what's important. Um, I kind of know what to do, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Because this will solve your SEO issue as well. Your SEO issue is the lack of this kind of content that resonates with the connoisseurs.
Mm,
But producing it in stage one, if you do that, all these other pieces will fall into place. I can guarantee it.
yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
technical issue you face.
I think it'd be good to get it'd be good to get $1 a day strategy running.
We could set up another session and we could do a double header. We could do dollar a day and you know, like
Yeah.
make sure you're like logged in and all that, and we'll be ready to do some boosting.
Yeah.
And I could interview you on my podcast, do like 20 minutes on each.
Okay, great. That'd be fantastic.
So you use the same link that you had to schedule. And
Yeah.
ideally, like if you can do it later this week, I know it's kind of late where you are now,
Yeah.
but I think that'd be pretty easy to knock out.
Okay.
And then I would love to for you as part of my session at Perry's thing that you can talk about because I think you embody the main blocker that's in Perry's audience,
Hmm.
which is, you know, someone who's relied upon PPC or email, like not showing their face or not telling the story in a more vivid way. And I think
Yeah.
by showing you overcoming that, I think this will help everyone else will see themselves in you.
Yeah. Yeah. We've always done very well with Google, with Google search. That's how we built most of the customer base.
Yeah.
But other channels, not really.
But Google's now multiple things. Google's not just regular search
Yeah.
anymore. I'll just show you one last
Yeah.
thing before we run.
Yeah.
But if we look at, so you know, clearly you're doing well on raw honey, but you know, with generative AI and all like here, there's so many ways that you can show up, right?
Yeah.
We'll also ask, there's ads, there's images and videos. Like you're missing out on a lot of ways that you could show up
Yeah.
because you're relying mainly on just, I mean, obviously it's not just people who have colds and whatever, but here, organic honey.
Yeah.
Here you're moving up, but we could really move this up.
Organic honey. Yeah. After raw honey, like organic raw honey, that would be really good.
Yeah. Raw, organic, active honey. Yeah.
The thing about one of the things that we're doing that not many other people are doing is that we're doing an antibacterial analysis of different honeys. So it's like exactly the same as Manuka. So Manuka has a rating according to its level of antibacterial activity.
Mhm.
But it was always assumed that Manuka was the only honey that had this, but it's not true at all. It's like other honeys do, and quite a few of our honeys are actually more potent than Manuka.
Yeah, but people don't know that.
They don't know that, but that's something to get out there more.
Yeah. Well, good. Let's do it. So
Yeah,
schedule time. I'll ask you these kinds of questions. I'm sure
right.
you asked them a zillion times. I'll ask from the standpoint of a complete novice, which is probably the content that you need.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant.
Yeah. Awesome. Was this valuable? What did you think?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
No. Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
you. And then
Yeah.
just, yeah, set a time and then let me know whatever I can do.
Okay. Thank you, Dennis.
All right. See you, Tim. And we'll see you soon in
Thank you.
person. All right.
All right.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.